This episode of What the Tech is brought to you by Braintree Payments. Mobile app development can be complex, but integrating your payments no longer has to be. With Braintree, your business can accept nearly every type of payment from any device with just one integration. Learn more at braintreepayments.com/whatthetech. HostPapa. HostPapa's powerful web hosting solution and cloud-based productivity tools are perfect for small business owners, digital entrepreneurs, and freelancers. Go to hostpapa.com/GFQ today and use our exclusive promo code GFQ to save 15% off their most popular shared web hosting packages. That's hostpapa.com/GFQ. And by Kaspersky Labs. Over 400 million users around the globe trust Kaspersky Labs to protect their banking, browsing, shopping, and socializing from dangerous online threats. Kaspersky Labs is providing a special offer, 50% off its premium software, Kaspersky Total Security. Go to Kaspersky.com and use the offer code WTT at checkout and get 50% off Kaspersky Total Security.
What's the tech?
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Zarian, and this week with me, actually Paul's still away. He is in Paris still. He's still in France, and I think we have 2 more shows this week. I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine. Next week, Brad is joining us from therot.com. Brad Sams is joining us, but this week, the one, the only, Mr. Stevie Richards. How you doing, Stevie?
I'm doing great. Do I get any of that sweet Paul Thurrott advertising money for What the Tech?
No, sadly you don't. No, that's all Paul's money. Paul keeps it all.
That's not fair.
I'm just here to look pretty. You're here to you look pretty with me too. That's what we're here for.
I will try to be half as knowledgeable as him, and hopefully it'll come across that way.
Listen, we talk about tech all the time. The only thing I was confused about this week was what to call you on the show.
Yeah, this branding thing's been a real pain in the ass. So, I mean,
I think, you know what, though? I think for most people, it's fine, right? Like, I think for 99% of people out there, they know you as Stevie, and you're Stevie, but I've gotten to know you personally, and, you know, you're Michael. If I'm talking to you off the air, it's Michael. But on the air, you should always be Stevie.
The bonus content will cover why I did that for so many years and why I eventually just gave in to the PR monsters and just ended up doing the branding all the way across on Stevie Richards Online and tech. It's you know, it's kind of like, it's funny to like different things, but I don't think the world likes people that have many different interests. They just want to know you for one thing, not for three. Yeah.
My friend is in PR, and it's actually really funny. He pretty much said the same thing. He's like, listen, I think your problem with your brand is that you do 5,000 different things, and you're known for podcasting, you're known for the wrestling show, you're known for the tech stuff, you're known for... It's very similar, actually, with the problem that you have, right? The identity crisis that you have.
Yeah, but Leo hates you more than me, so...
Yeah.
Not much, but by a little bit.
Yeah. So thank you for joining me today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I actually want to talk to you about the drones.
3 minutes in, and I got you in trouble, right?
No, you're not. Listen, you never. It's fine. Get me in trouble all you want. It's okay. I just got to pay bills before you get me into a lot of trouble. Actually. By the way, can you plug the show, the new show?
The new show? Yeah. Oh, the Conspiracy Podcast? Yes. You know, we had the T4 show for a long time, and it was great. Colm and I had done it, and then Colm, people asked, you know, why is Colm not on the show anymore? He's very busy with his family now. He has 2 kids. Had a job that the times would never line up, and you would agree, Andrew, consistency is the key, especially with doing a podcast, if people subscribe to that show. So we were doing tech, and then I said, you know, there's a million different tech shows out there, and I'm just regurgitating it. And I've always been a big fan of investigating and researching conspiracy theories. My friend Robert and also my friend Judd, who I've known for a long time, seemed to be at the same spot where they were going to try to do a show. So we converted it over. It's still figuring out the name right now. You know, right now it's in between, and we're figuring out we're going to go to podcast 1. So right now it's conspiracy theory based, and actually we're recording right after this one, and we're going to cover NASA, part 2 of the NASA stuff. And you're actually going to be on the podcast too on a couple of future episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I'm really into this stuff. I wouldn't say necessarily agree with all the theories out there, but I'm always interested on the other side of the argument, and I like to keep an open mind, and I find it really entertaining and fun to listen to. By the way, the name of the show is great. Everything is a work.
It's all a work.
It's all a work.
Now, if it goes to podcast one, they want to, once again, your PR friend probably says, put your name in the podcast. So I have to switch it over to something simple like Stevie Richards conspiracy theories.
I love that it's called It's All a Work. For people that don't know what a work is, it's a wrestling term for it being staged, I guess.
Deceptive. I would say. I would say if you covered, if you haven't been living under a rock in the past election cycle, you would know that that's pretty much all work too, on both sides. So it's pretty interesting. I don't agree with it all either. But once again, I think we're living in a pretty unique time where people aren't allowed to ask questions, aren't allowed to research and gain knowledge. Pretty much mainstream media, feeds everybody, and we should believe what's on TV, which
Absolutely.
is a line from Richard Nixon. If it gets on television, everybody will believe it. Not the exact quote, but you get the gist of it.
So Stevie does a phenomenal show. You did a great thing on the Mandela Effect. I really, really enjoy the Mandela Effect stuff. I've been searching for a good conspiracy theory show for a long time, and majority of the people that do it are really loony, and they really, really are committed to the whole, just going off the deep end with the cloak and dagger stuff, and it's, what do they call, skunk works, right? Like when it's like really, really far off the deep end. You guys actually do investigation, and you kind of make your decision based on what you've discovered, which is awesome. I absolutely love it. Guys,
and we have a fun thing. If you go off the rails, or if anybody goes a little bit too far, we have a number of Alex Jones quotes where he's basically going into one of his tantrums or rants, and that's like our alert that you're going a little bit off the deep end. So
which I love.
It's fun. We're pretty serious, but then at the same time throughout the show a couple times we just kind of laugh and make jokes about stuff. So it's a good mix.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good show, and I don't listen to podcasts, surprisingly. People think I'm crazy. I only have a certain amount of podcasts that I listen to, and it's become, I was hooked on it my entire plane ride to Jamaica. I re-listened twice, so it's actually that good. And I'm saying this not because Stevie's a good friend of mine and because he's on the podcast. I genuinely enjoy the podcast. So, guys, take that as my endorsement to the show. We also, go ahead.
I keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead. Skype, go ahead.
I was going to say this since this is a text show, I think the inclusion of clips into the show really fills it out really, really nicely. And if you're interested to do your own podcast and include audio clips, the app we use is Loopback from Rogue Amoeba, and a really great piece of software that plays any audio from any source through your computer, and your guest can hear it too. So it's really nice, so they don't have to pretend they heard the clip.
Oh, that's
they actually hear it in real time, and you have the reaction as the clip is played.
That's actually great, actually. I'm going to have to grab that and put it in the show notes for people that are interested in there. So, with all that said, I want to take a moment and talk about our sponsor, and that's Kaspersky Lab. Guys, being protected in this day and age on the internet is a must. Even if you're on a Mac. I spoke about this a couple weeks ago, and I got a couple emails from people saying, Kaspersky makes some great stuff, but I'm on a Mac. Guess what? It happens on a Mac. And I had a very embarrassing situation happen where I clicked on something I should not have clicked on by mistake in an email. I actually got fooled in an email, which is the first time that it's ever happened to me. I think the older I'm getting, the more I'm doing these mistakes. So it doesn't matter if you are on a Mac. It doesn't matter if you are on a PC. It could happen to anybody. You click on the wrong thing. You could, you're doing banking. You're doing all this stuff on the internet, and you really should be safe. Over 400 million people use Kaspersky Lab products for their banking, their browsing, web shopping, socializing, and everything else. It protects you from dangerous online threats. They have a great deal. Kaspersky Labs is providing a special offer, 50% off its premium software, Kaspersky Total Security. When you use offer code WTT at checkout, you get 50% off Kaspersky Total Security. They have a whole bunch of other stuff on their website also, but this is something to really look at. The other thing that they do, which is great, and it's not like other software companies, they allow you to install this on multiple devices. So you have up to 5 installations. So it could be your laptop, it could be your Mac, it could be your Android phone, it could be a number of devices that you could put this on. It protects people against real threats of cyber crime. This is going to only get worse and worse out there. Kaspersky.com. Use the code WTT at checkout and get 50% off. Kaspersky Total Security. I want to thank Kaspersky Lab for supporting the show, for, of course, supporting the GFK Network. Great software. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from people that use the software. And the other thing is I installed it on one of my machines. It's an older machine. It does not bloat up the computer. It's not, unlike other applications out there, unlike other software, security software out there, it's not killing your PC. So they actually make a very, very good piece of software. Kaspersky Lab is the company. Kaspersky Total Security is the software. 50% off. I want to thank them for supporting the show. So, Stevie, I keep almost doing Michael every time. I almost call you Michael.
You can do it. It doesn't matter. It's the same difference.
I wanted to ask you about the iPhone and the iPhone 7. We're going to get more information. There's going to be an event September 12th. You're going to get information about the release. It's going to be released the week of September 12th. I think the date is going to be the 16th. I know you go back and forth on Android and on with iOS, and you always bounce platforms. Are you an iPhone guy now?
Yeah, I have an iPhone 6s Plus right now. I can't see myself ever going with anything smaller than a 5.5-inch screen. I'm kind of invested in Apple products. I have a Mac Mini. That doesn't really matter much anymore. But I have an Apple Watch, and that's been probably my biggest disappointing purchase, or my most disappointing purchase in the past year. I'm not really crazy about wearing that. It's just sitting over there most of the time.
So how long did you wear it?
I wore it mostly for working out and the notifications, but I found it's kind of funny. I have a Pebble too, and I don't have it anymore, but I had it to compare to it first. And the notifications would always go to the Pebble before the phone.
Interesting.
And in this case, even with the screen off, because I know the deal with the screen being on, it won't be on the watch. It would still take about 10 to 20 seconds for the Apple Watch to do that. The heart rate monitoring can be accurate, but wrist-based stuff is not ideal for when you're working out. Chest-based heart rate monitor is always the best.
Yeah.
And with iOS, I just don't see Android phones and Android hardware has caught up, and the price is much lower than what you would pay out of contract for any of these high phones, especially the Plus models. It's just something that now we're all, I think, across the board with Android, iOS, no more Windows Phone, unfortunately. But with Android and iOS, it seems like they're making, all these micro movements or even just lateral movements from model to model.
Yeah.
So it's nothing really exciting in the past, at least 2 to 3 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's with iOS, with the next iPhone, with the iPhone 7, this is a very interesting moment for them because there are going to be changes, but I don't necessarily think that some of these changes are going to be great. I mean, the camera, most likely, in my opinion, I don't know anything more than anybody else, but the camera is going to be stellar on this thing, which it always is. The cameras are always better than the last camera, but some of the advantages that Apple had with the iPhone, they're no longer advantages because everybody's starting to do this. Samsung is doing unbelievable with their new S7, with the Galaxy S7. Samsung just put out one of their best earnings in 2 years. They're selling the most smartphones that they've sold. They're really dominant as a number one smartphone maker in the world, but they also have become very dominant with this S7. And I'm noticing more and more people out there that are using Android devices than iOS devices. So there are options there. Now, with the rumors that most likely it's going to happen, where they removed the headphone jack and they're putting their proprietary, thing on here, is that going to hurt them, you think, Michael?
I really don't know because their whole thing, the reason why a 2012 Mac Mini is sitting on my desk is because of upgradability, and we're talking about mainly the Mac stuff, but when you start taking away access ports from the iPhone 7, I have a ton of headphones, like talking about Beats wireless, but it also, sometimes I use it wired as well. That $275 pair of headphones is now deemed obsolete.
Yeah.
And I can't plug it into my iPhone. They could say, well, you can do Bluetooth and this and that.
You could do an adapter. Yeah, they're going to do that.
Yeah. What if I wanted to plug it in and make it wired, say on a plane? where I can actually plug it in, and battery life is inconsequential either way. But taking away choices that you don't think that we want to make, that's been Apple's philosophy for how long? And I think we're going to use the line ever since Steve Jobs died, but right now it's been more about number crunching. It's been more about the stock. It's been more what Tim Cook's strengths are with the logistics and all that stuff. Much more. Yeah, much more. As real or fake as it might have been when Steve Jobs was there was still a feeling about Apple. Now it doesn't feel any different between going. That's why I'm saying, like, it doesn't make any difference to me now to go from Android to iOS, because there's nothing special about one or the other. More special, I should say.
This is probably not the best example of this, but I'm going to show you something here. Here is an iPad, right? Here's a black iPad. I don't know here's a iPad Air. And here is an Android and Windows tablet. I've been showing this for a couple of weeks. Next week, my full review is going on this device. It's called the TechLast X9 8 Plus 2. It's some crazy name. So I was asked to review this thing, and I've done a long-term review. I'm not, when you do the same thing too. When you review a product, you put out your initial points of what you think, and then you do a long-term study, and then you make your determination. After a month of using something, a lot of that effect goes away, and it's a realistic device. This thing looks exactly like an iPad 3. It's probably the same weight. It's running a full-fledged version of Windows. It's running full Android, and it's $249.
Oh, wow.
It looks like an iPad. The thing that made Apple was the aesthetics, the look, the feel. Now, is this as good as an iPad? That's not an even comparison. You can't really compare the two because this is running Windows and it's running different software. But I have to tell you, I was super impressed by this device for less than $300. I think it's like $179 too on some sites. By the way, they're not paying me to talk about this. There are a lot of things I do not like about the device, which I'm going to talk about. But for $179, you have Android, you have Windows, you could connect the keyboard to this thing, use it, you could give this to your kid, this could be his computer. You couldn't do that 5-6 years ago when the iPad came out.
What ports? I see ports as you're moving it around. Does it have USB ports?
Yeah, it has a micro flash, micro SD, has micro USB, has HDMI, has a DC power, and then a headphone jack, and it has a mic, and it has a webcam in the front and the back. I mean, $179.
Yeah, see, that's a point about talking about cost. Now, I have a 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I had predicted incorrectly that the new laptops were going to come out with the last event when the new iPad Pro, the 9.7-inch, came out. If people were getting confused with all these different models, that's another point we'll bring up in a second. But I got the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and I said this is going to be great. It's just a big consumption device, but I may be able to use it as a laptop. Let me try that out. I traded in my MacBook Pro, and it really didn't cost me much money, maybe a couple $100 to upgrade from the iPad Air 2 to the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Now, from specs and power, it's still going to be good for a while, but with the speed, I should say, that they're releasing hardware with Apple, with the iPads, especially recently, and now with the iPhones, the cycles are they're much quicker than they used to be. And once again, for people that like to upgrade a lot, like you and I probably, and that's slowed down quite a bit over the past couple of years.
It has. Me too. Me too. I listen. I know you were upgrading. I mean, you were getting you had a Windows phone, you had your iPhone, you had an Android, you went back to Windows Phone, you went back to Android. So you were constantly upgrading because it's fun. But and you cover this stuff. You do this for a living. This is what you do. I think there's something that we've also gotten tech fatigue, where we're probably tired of spending that money and upgrading, but two, everything starts looking the same after a while. Everybody's making great devices. So for you, right, for you have a very specific thing that needs to stand out. You do the fitness stuff. So a lot of that stuff matters to you. Do you think Apple's doing the best job at that? Are they doing the best in the field, or is Android doing a better job at the fitness stuff?
I think the Apple Watch and the health that's on the phone and the apps that are available are very good. They break it down a lot better than Google Fit. From the last time I looked at Google Fit, Apple has more data parameters. They have more things you can do. They have more outside sources. Like I used the Sculpt Chisel. That's my initial review today. And I was able to sync it up with Apple Health and use the body fat percentage I measured. There's a lot of different stuff that the hub of the Apple Health dashboard can take. But I think this is the one time that Apple Watch, specifically Apple Watch, is still kind of in the beta phase and didn't wait long enough, I think, because Android Wear really didn't get down the health stuff either with the heart rate monitor and all that stuff. And Apple's usually the last person to the party, but they do it the best.
Yeah.
I think the Apple Watch is not one of those examples.
So
still trying to, in essence, they're still trying to figure it out.
I was not a big fan of the smartwatches. I get the fitness bands, right? I mean, I have a Fitbit. I also have a smartwatch. I have a Samsung that Gear 2 smartwatch, which is not running Android. I have to tell you, I didn't get it, and I thought it was dumb, and it's too much money. It's pointless. But after using that Gear watch with all its limitations, running Tizen and it not having Android support. Even with all the limitations, I actually enjoyed having it on my wrist because I could actually make phone calls from this thing. It had its own 3G chip, so I could see it getting better. But after about a couple of weeks and you forget to wear this thing for like 2 days, you kind of forget about it. And it's not as important to have. I don't know what the next thing is going to be. I think someone like you benefits from having that. And to kind of go back to the smartphone thing, this is what's going to drive the smartphone market. I think we've matured the market to the point where it's come to the point that it's not about the aesthetics. It's not about the flavor of the month. It's what works best for you. So if Windows Phone works best for you, that is the best phone on the market for you. If it's iOS because of the fitness stuff, if it's iOS because of the applications on there, that's what you're going to use. I think now the ecosystem between Android and iOS has opened up so much where it's nearly identical. Really, there is no. I can't think of when I recommend. I always recommend the iPhone because Android is still a little. It's getting there. I think probably with the next version they'll work out a lot of these kinks that exist with Android. But they've gotten so much better over the last couple of years where now it's an even playing field.
There's a lot of different stuff to consider. I would say this that if you're going to make the investment, and this has been the talk between tech people like us for the longest time, that you better be sure because you make an investment in accessories and for example, the iPhone 7, it's going to be the Lightning headphones and all this stuff. I was even thinking about getting a clip mic digital, which is an excellent wireless lav mic that you plug into the Lightning port on your iPhone, and then it's an Apple Watch app along with that. But once I buy something like that, I'll never be able to use it on Android because Android doesn't have Lightning connectors. There's going to be a lot of different things you have to consider. Now, from the smartwatch standpoint, this is going to be what you said. It's kind of not so much about aesthetics, but function. And also, if you want to remain in the middle and choose between both Android and iOS, I would go back and really look at what Pebble's doing, especially with health. I think Pebble's doing some really great stuff. It's simplistic. It's almost like the retro stuff is new again in a way. So we've been so tech fatigued by all this sleek stuff and all this stuff that's supposedly out there and futuristic that there's a certain charm to the Pebble that still attracts me to this day.
Which Pebble are you talking about? The latest one?
Well, those have the heart rate monitors, but you're talking about the Pebble Time Steel, even the classic Pebble from the first gen. They all got the timeline updates, so they're kind of already current. Some run faster than others. Obviously, the newer ones, the Pebble Time Round. What else? The Time Steel is a really nice one, and you're talking about a lower price point than even the Apple Watch. That's really been dropped in price lately. I mean, it's still just as cheap, if not cheaper, than a refurbished Apple Watch, which was around probably $249. So you can still get you and your wife a couple Pebble Times or whatever cheaper than doing that.
What's the name of the microphone again?
The microphone is the Clip Mic Digital, and this thing is pretty excellent because there's Dom Esposito. He's a pretty famous YouTube reviewer. Did a comparison between the $600 lav kit and this $200 Clip Mic Digital, and they sound exactly alike. So for me to get two of these, and I have two iOS devices, and then I can do an interview and then sync it up to the video through Pluralize or Final Cut, whatever way I would do it. That's pretty cool. But once again, if I'm going to pay that much, I'll be on iOS until probably iOS 15. Yeah. I'm not moving for a while.
Are you running the beta for iOS?
No. I learned my lesson from that. Colm is running the beta.
I can't believe he always does that. I'm one of people. I get crap on that all the time because I don't run any of like the preview releases for Windows because my Windows machines are all production machines, so it's pointless for me to do that, and it's irresponsible, right? If I'm running a beta of an operating system. But on my Mac, I made the big mistake of running. I think it was with Maverick. I ran the beta. I was in the I ran it from beginning to end. I had so many problems on this thing where it would take me, like a minute and a half longer to do anything. It was so buggy until like the end where I said, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to run the beta. And I kind of like doing that because when when that new software comes out, I'm exposed to all this new stuff where I could talk about it as if I'm just a normal Joe that's using it. Not being on the inside of like having like beta access or even knowing to do that. I like having that normal person mentality when using technology.
I would say this too. I don't know about the last couple because I've never chanced it. But before, going back before Mavericks, whatever the one was before that, it seemed like every major update in OS 10, now that's Mac OS, but when it was OS 10, the 0.0 and 0.1 would always have Wi-Fi issues, would always have something that was really, and then the developers had to catch up with it too, because not everybody is going to be ready to go when the new OS 10 drops.
Yeah.
So what if you have that one application or two, or even most of them that you use day to day that don't have the necessary update to be compatible with that? Then you're stuck, and you have to count on Apple to hopefully release a fix for it.
Hopefully,
and especially Wi-Fi issues they seem to be pretty prevalent in the 0.0 and 0.1 updates. I usually wait till the 0.2 updates, which is usually maybe 2 to 3 weeks after, and then I do the full combo update or whatever they do out of the App Store now.
We have so much to talk about. Stevie Richards joining me today. Paul Thurrott still in France on vacation. He will be back, I believe, in 2 weeks. Next week, we have Brad from Thurrott.com joining me. We're going to be back to Tuesdays again next week. I think between my vacation and Paul's vacation and working everybody's schedule out, it's been such a disaster this summer. But we're here. We're doing our best. You know what? Most people watch...
vacation. What's a vacation? What's a vacation?
Yeah, when's the last time you went away on vacation, Paul? Stevie.
Paul?
I'm not calling. I don't know why I called you Paul.
Not a big shot. Last time I went on vacation, well, supposedly people told me my vacation was last week, but it was an 18-hour days working at the WWE Performance Center. So
yeah,
not necessarily vacation. Although the vacation before that was when I had surgery. So I got the nice little, hotel was the hospital. So, no, I've never been on vacation. Yeah. There you go.
How was the food on that vacation when you were in the hospital?
It was amazing. It was amazing. If you ever want to lose a few pounds, go get surgery and go in the hospital.
Yeah. Guys, this segment is brought to you by Braintree. BraintreePayments.com/whatthit'slike. Braintree, a PayPal company. They're supporting us today. Why make payment integration more difficult than it has to be? We've been talking about Braintree for over a year now, and the amount of emails we get about our viewers, you guys, that have integrated their payment solution for mobile app development to Braintree has been mind-blowing. I get, the last time when we had this What the Tech meetup in the city, I had like 4 or 5 of you guys come over and say, listen, I actually use Braintree for the app that I made, and it's been great. Lewis, a big viewer, a big-time fan of ours, a long-time viewer of ours, just sent me an email saying, listen, I'm launching this new product, and we reintegrated Braintree because of the fact that it's super easy to implement. Braintree is a full-stack payment platform. It allows you to accept nearly any type of payment platform, any type of payment method on any device with just one integration, meaning you could do Apple Pay, you could do Bitcoin, you could do all major credit cards, all currencies, all this stuff. But let's say there's a new payment a certain system out there, like Stevie Richards Payment. It's a new way to buy your products. Easily, you could integrate it. It's literally a couple lines of code, and you're done. It is so easy to do. I mean, even I could do it, and I'm a dummy with this stuff. Doesn't matter if you're using Java, Ruby, Python, everything works. The client side SDKs are available. Braintree Payments make everything so much easier. To learn more, go to braintreepayments.com/whatthetech. That's braintreepayments.com/whatthetech. Simple, secure payments and code that you could integrate quickly. To learn more, go to braintreepayments.com/whatthetech. I want to thank them. These guys are actually great, and it's really been a useful tool for many, many, many of our viewers. I understand how complicated this is. Suncast was trying to do something for us recently similar to this, and we could not do it. This is before we knew about Braintree because it was so overly complicated, but Braintree has really solved it for us. BraintreePayments.com/whatthetech.
Now, let me ask you a question about Braintree.
Yes.
Because I've been considering in the future possibly doing some sort of subscription model. Some places have subscription models for access on certain WordPress sites and stuff like that. Does Braintree handle stuff like that?
Yeah,
recurring
so
payments?
let's say you're gonna have a mobile app for your subscription. You could definitely integrate it in the application. It's a very easy way to implement this, and it's a PayPal company, so the support is there. We haven't done a WordPress integration or a Squarespace integration with this. I'm not too sure. I haven't read the literature when it comes to a website like that, but I could imagine that they could definitely help you out with that. But if you're coming up with an app, it's great. But you know what? It would work because the backend is all going to be the same, so it should work.
Cool.
Very cool.
I like money.
You like what?
I like money.
Yeah, I like money. That should be the name of the show. I like money. So let's talk about. Do you have any machines that you've upgraded to Windows 10 yet?
No, actually, no Windows machines at all in my household right now.
I'm actually surprised by that because you're not like an anti-Windows guy.
No, I'm not. I mean, I have an Xbox One right behind me in my gaming cabinet, and with everything going across devices, I'm very interested probably to get maybe a device like you have for that price to see. It probably wouldn't be powerful enough to play games, but to get something like that. My wife has the Surface Pro 4, so that would be something to be able to test out the cross.
So you do have a Microsoft device though.
She's not allowed to bring it in the house.
It stays outside with the shoes.
Yeah.
So today is the last day, guys. Today's the last day for the free upgrade. Hopefully the show will be posted by tomorrow, by midnight today. Guys, if you have Windows 7 and you're on the fence and you're not using any proprietary software that would complicate things, Windows 10 is the way to go. We have one machine left with Windows 7 in the studio. I'm looking at it right here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a machine right here that I used to monitor my video, and I have not upgraded that due to laziness. I have to change the hard drive because there's a problem with the hard drive here, and it keeps failing on the Windows 10 update. So I'm still in Windows 10. Windows 7. I'm going to most likely do that tonight, and I'm going to bring it down to, hour zero. It's tomorrow at midnight. I'm sorry, tomorrow at midnight. Not today, obviously. Not today midnight, tomorrow midnight. I thought today was 29th. So you have, 1 day left to do this. Let me ask you a question.
Yes. Let me ask you a question, and maybe Paul's already answered this on a previous episode. It's free up until the time and deadline you said, but is the update worth $119 to the person that would still pay it?
Yes, I think so. And I'll tell you why. If you're not into like the whole, there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, it's a better operating system. It's a modern operating system, and Windows 7 is starting to feel a little dated. It's a modern operating system. You're going to get the support. It's faster. It's cleaner. The things. Windows 7 is from 2009 at this point, so there are issues with it. It's not. I've had no problems with Windows 10. The machines that I have it running on that I use on a regular basis, I'm so used to it now. Cortana's great. The search is great. I mean, it's not this mind blowing. Oh my God, this is such a different operating system. But it's more of a modernized look and feel to Windows. There is no reason not to upgrade. There's more reasons to upgrade than not to upgrade, in my opinion. And I was one of these people. Listen, I didn't go to Windows 8. I went to it. I bought it, actually, and I installed it, and I absolutely hated it, and I never did it again. And it was such a turnoff for me. And every week I would have to talk about Windows 8 on the show, and I would have to bite my tongue and say how I don't hate it as much Because then you come off, like an idiot, and you're just saying, I hate this thing, but you're not even like using it on a regular basis.
Just skip from 7 to 10. I was like, there was like 8 and 8. I figured you must have hated it because you didn't even like bring it up at first.
Yeah, it was not good. 8.1 was better, but I did not like 8. I really, really like Windows 10, and I've upgraded almost every one of my relatives' computers. Every time I go to their house now, this is what I do. They give me a beer, and they say, can you update my computer? And I go, yeah, no problem. And I just clean everything out, and I update it. It's like brand new for them. But there are cases for you not to update. I had to kind of rig the drivers. I had to modify the drivers in order for my audio drivers to work on Windows 10. That is not Microsoft's fault. That is the problem. It's just the drivers haven't been updated. The certificate hasn't been updated. It's blocked on Windows due to the security on it, on Windows 10. The security is way more. And I had to kind of rig the drivers and put a fake certificate for it to work. Now, will you have that problem? Most likely not. You'll never even have to think about that. But it's a free upgrade. Why not do it? Now, the other thing, $119, Stevie, to buy it. So if you want to wait a week, you're going to buy it. I think we're going to have a major problem where people are going to go to upgrade it next week when anniversary update comes out. And people are going to realize they can't update for free.
How many devices can you upgrade on with that? Even after if you've spent the $119, is it a limit of 5 devices? Or you're talking about the software in the first ad. You can do up to 5. Is it just 1 per, or is it a group, or
on the upgrade?
License?
I'm not too sure actually. Maybe someone in the chat room could tell me. I thought it was up to 2, right? Wasn't that always how it was? Up to 2 or up to 5, something like that.
And I haven't done anything like that in so long. I mean, Mac has been free. Mac OS 10 and now Mac OS has been free forever.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I have the family pack, so I have it on 5 different machines, Windows 7. So when I upgraded, it was on 5 different machines. And then I have Ultimate on 2 machines for Windows 7. So I'm not too sure what the number is, but I believe traditionally it was 2. Just 1, someone says. I think you could do up to 2, and then you got to call and they do that authentication stuff, which is totally bogus. And
it's like 60. At the very best, it's $60 a computer. So, and right now, it's free, so you can pretty much, until the deadline, download it on as many devices like you did. All your devices, all your computers, I should say.
Oh, every single one of them. Yeah, I've done just 1. That's because I got to swap the hard drive out, and that's the only reason. It's a major. I've been pushing this, and now we're at 0 hour. You really, if you have the time to do it, just do it tonight and let it happen, and you're not going to really regret it. And guess what? If you don't like it, you could always downgrade. That's the other thing. You could just go back. It's the improvements, and especially the improvements in the anniversary update, are well worth every penny.
Now, if you downgrade, can you re-upgrade without paying?
Oh, that's a great question. You know what? I believe you probably could, because once you activate Windows 10, then you should be able to. Mm-hmm. That's a good question, though. You know what? That's a good question for Paul. Someone tweet that to Paul and ask him, because I don't have the answer to that. If you upgrade, then you downgrade, can you upgrade back after the free upgrade?
Much like if you want to wait for the service pack updates, or whatever they're calling them now, the point updates. If you say, wow, this just isn't, I'll just wait a little while. I'm going to downgrade, wait till 2 or 3 versions or whatever come after.
You know why? I believe you could, because once you authenticate that Windows 7 key to a Windows 10 key, once they kind of link up the key, it's yours. You're done. You shouldn't have to, you're not punished. Yes, you can downgrade, then upgrade later for free. Yes, you can. Mike in our chat room, thank you for that.
Here's another question.
Yes, go ahead. I'm Paul today. I'm playing the role of Paul, and you're playing Andrew.
Yes, let me grow a beard real quick and have good hair. Let me ask you this. What if you downgrade, then you get another computer? Then you want to upgrade. Is that license connected to that piece of hardware? Okay. Now you have to call them and say, what's the rollout going to be? Like where you see your first Windows 10 anniversary edition or whatever device in a Best Buy or somewhere where you can just pick it up and have that.
So this has been the question, right? Like I believe it's tied to the hardware. Microsoft stores the hardware hash to its servers. So I believe it's tied to the hardware. But this is where it's going to get tricky, right? Because once you, according to my from what I've understood, it should work. But let's look at it like this. I have a built computer here, right? Custom built. And let's say I fry the motherboard and I change the video card. And then I format the hard drive. And I go to update, I put in my Windows 7 key and I go to update Windows 10. It should work because it's been tied. It's all tied to that license. I believe it should work, but we don't know yet because guess what? It's not free. So we'll find out about all these problems in a couple days. Right now it's free, so it doesn't matter. They're just giving it away, but I'm sure there's going to be problems with it.
I bet you Microsoft doesn't even know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, because it has to happen for them to realize there's an issue.
Yeah, I think there's multiple fallbacks. Like it's linked to your motherboard, your BIOS, and the Microsoft account. So if you use your Microsoft account, you're good. Everything is stored there. But if you don't have a Microsoft account, you're just logging in as as a user. You're losing one step at that authentication. I think the goal here is everybody you should create a Microsoft account and have everything tied and everything there in one place. I have to change the motherboard on a machine, says Khan, and it called for it to be activated, but when it did, it worked fine. Yeah, but right now it's free, so it's going to activate fine. Let's see what's going to happen in a week.
That's what I was going to say, that on the Mac side, we don't have too many people besides the Hackintosh people.
Yeah.
Due to these kind of hardware upgrades, you're not actually able to anymore with Apple. But with
anything.
Windows, like the person in the chat room, there's people that probably switch out motherboards as much as people who upgrade their phones.
We do that all the time. We're constantly, swapping stuff, swapping hard drives. I think a lot of the question is going to be with the people that swap hard drives now. How is it going to work? Listen, we're going to find out in a couple days, right? If it's seamless. At the end of the day, it should work. They're saying it will work. People aren't going to get screwed out of their keys. I don't, and I think Microsoft, if you contact them, they will most likely help you with this. They're not out there to screw people out of their free upgrades. They don't want to get the negative press like they did with Windows 8. So we'll find out in a couple days. Actually, I'm curious to see how this works out. But Anniversary is coming out next week on the 2nd, so that's also going to happen. I had a question for you. Are you playing Pokemon Go?
I am not.
You are not. Why? I thought that game would have been right up your alley.
You know what's funny is that I was tempted by it, and then I started to hear all the stories about the privacy stuff, and this isn't because I do a conspiracy podcast. This is because, I heard about it, getting full access to your Google account. I heard about certain things with the camera. I heard about the GPS. And I just wanted to see how it shook out. Plus, people were just, walking in front of cars and killing themselves. It was pretty insane. It looks like a fun game. As a matter of fact, they have it on TV shows now, on wrestling shows for finishes. And I mean, they're incorporating Pokemon Go into everything. And from what I've seen in the show notes, it's been a real up and down roller coaster for Nintendo. And this is built off of another game which wasn't even anywhere near as popular, Ingress, correct?
Yes, Ingress, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously Pokemon, they're still releasing games for Nintendo DS, and, I think there's 2 more coming out this week, right? 2 more Pokemon games.
Is that really?
I think DS? There's, for DS, 3DS XL or 3DS, yeah.
I was a little too old for the Pokemon stuff. Shockingly, I missed that whole Pokemon craze. My brothers, on the other hand, that are 7 and 11 years younger than me, they were in that age group for Pokemon. It just Pokemon never appealed to me. I didn't really get it. But this game has connected. I like the game, but the problem is right now with the game, it consumes so much battery to play this game, where you can't realistically, let's say you're playing a game and you're functioning, you're going to be out of the house for a couple hours, you're going to work. You have to bring one of these, these backup battery packs. I don't have one by me now, but you have to bring one of these backup battery packs to kind of function through the day with your phone. It's really intensive on the GPS and on the battery.
Yeah, they're selling that $50 battery that you can get for $10 on Amazon, but they're going to put the Pokemon sticker on it or something, right?
That's what I said. I said, what a business this will be. Just anybody, if they're smart, they're going to license. Are they going to do it?
No, there's a battery pack coming out. I don't know if it's not out yet, but yeah, there's actually a Pokemon Power Plus, it's called, or something like that. It's like $50.
I got to look this up. Pokemon. Let's see this. Pokemon Power Plus.
Is it coming up?
Let's see. Power Bank, yeah. Pokemon Go, Powerball, Power Bank. Maybe someone else is. Oh no, they are going to sell this. Look at this. That is so stupid. It's literally a charging bank that's the size of a Pokeball. Why would you want to walk around with this thing?
Yeah.
Where are you going to put it? Oh, that's silly.
In your pants, it looks like you have an extra deal going on.
Yeah.
How much?
$32. Now, I don't know if this is an official device. Oh, someone just posted this, actually. I don't think it's an official device, but I'm curious to see if they're going to do this with all these, properties that they have. And I think they would. If Nintendo's smart, maybe they will license. I think this company should license it to everybody, like The Simpsons. Have a version of this game for The Simpsons, and have a version of this game for, even like the WWE could license this and have their own GPS-based fighting game.
Now, what are your thoughts? I'll get to the Nintendo licensing. Actually, let me touch on that. Nintendo, how long have we been screaming for Nintendo to license the games on iOS?
Oh, God, for years.
Mario Kart, all these other games that you can play. Now that you have the Apple TV out, imagine if Nintendo wanted to license how many Apple TVs people would buy, to do that. Because the Wii U's, that's way too expensive, and it's just garbage in my opinion. I'd rather get an original Wii.
I have a Wii U, and I've used it, to play like 4 games, and that's it.
Pretty much, yeah. But if you licensed it, their value went up billions of dollars
in one
over
day.
The course in one day. It's gone back down. You're probably going to get to that in a minute, but it went up billions of dollars after these downloads. And I don't know how many. Are they in the hundreds of millions of people using it, or just in the tens of millions still?
For the game? For what game?
Downloads for it.
For Pokemon? I think it's in the tens of millions right now. I don't know if they hit 100. Well, maybe since they opened it up to Europe, they might have.
It's not in the low tens of millions. We're talking about it's probably well over 50 million people use this game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things with this game too that people don't understand. I mean, when you have, is it the, people catching Pokemon in the Holocaust Museum in Germany?
Were they really?
Yes, they were. It was like a Pokestop, or I don't know if it was a gym, because then you have people having them fight it. Poke gyms are where they actually do the fights, right? Where they fight each other.
That's where you fight each other. Yeah.
No, but there was definitely a Pokemon in the Holocaust Museum, and that was a big complaint. Now people are putting signs up. There's businesses that are I've heard the businesses are using the Pokemon Go game to attract customers, and on a more nefarious level, robbers are actually trying to get people to solo come and get the Pokemon, and there's been robberies. I mean, someone's always going to try to put this and spin this in an evil way. And that's something they have to figure out.
I've seen businesses that have done really well because of where they are, people are able to catch Pokemon. But what happens then is people are just lingering around the store and they're trying to play Pokemon. I don't know. This is the first time. This is the first time something like this has happened. So obviously there's Google Play Store, 50 million to 100 million installs for Pokemon. Android. So they are in the hundreds of millions. Wow. That's actually mind-blowing how popular this game has gotten. But, the summer's here, so people are out, people are playing, people are walking. Wait till, New York gets hit with the winter storms and kids are back in school. I don't know if it's going to have that many active users at this point.
Well, and how many people have gotten? I know somebody. I went to a show in New Orleans, and somebody who's a friend of a cop was telling me that he wrote so many tickets since Pokemon Go came out because people are using it while they're driving.
They're idiots.
That's really going to lead to a lot of different problems like that. People stopping in the middle of the road.
I saw it in Manhattan. I see it happen here.
No, talk about the highway, man. I was going to say a word. The highway. They're getting out on the highway to catch a Pokemon.
Oh my God.
It's incredible.
It's you know what? It's technology immaturity. We are a very immature generation of tech users.
Everybody's wondering, I don't want to sound like that guy because I love technology. It's all around me. But I really do believe that now the zombie apocalypse is upon us.
It is.
Because people already with the texting and all that stuff, and I'm one of them. So please don't think that I'm immune to it. But now you're literally never looking up because now your augmented reality on the phone is controlling what you see.
Yeah.
And you think you're safe, but the field of view of the phone is not the 180-degree view that you see.
I agree with you.
I predict at least 10 to 20 manhole cover incidents.
God, probably already we've had it in the city. Guys, before we start wrapping up and go to our last break, I want to thank our last sponsor of the day, and that's Host Papa. We've been talking about these guys for a while, and they have a great discount for What the Tech listeners. If you are a small business and you're looking for a web hosting solution and a cloud-based productivity tool, this is the place for you. This is great for small business owners, digital entrepreneurs, freelancers, and of course for your personal site. If you go to hostpapa.com/GFQ, they have a great deal, an exclusive deal for our audience. If you use the offer code GFQ at checkout, that's GFQ at checkout, you get 15% off their shared hosting plans starting at $395. Actually, their mid-range, their business plan right now is actually really discounted to $395 a month, plus the 15% off, which is great. $395 a month. What beats that? That's a great way to start in there. HostPop is a complete turnkey solution, making it easy for any small business owner or any person having a business to get a website up and running. HostPop literally has everything your business needs, including lightning-fast servers, professional email, automated website backup, cutting-edge security, and hundreds of cloud-based productivity tools. There's no limit on how awesome your website could be. With HostPapa, it's easy, it's as simple as a drag-and-drop web builder that they have, or as simple as a one-click WordPress installer. We use WordPress. I know Stevie's on a different hosting thing, but maybe you could start hosting your podcast on here. You know, you got to create different RSSs for your podcast. This might be a good solution for you.
That's very tedious with the Squarespace site. So the podcast in itself, we don't have the downloads we want, and I think that's why. And thank you for pointing that out to me. So this might be a solution.
This might be a solution. You could go there. The other great thing is that they have 24/7, 365 phone, chat, or email support. They are an award-winning support team at HostPapa. Here's the other thing. Go sign up, hostpapa.com/GFQ, sign up for a package, and if you don't like it, there's an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. If it doesn't work for you, if it's not what you wanted, guess what? All your money's back. No problem. hostpapa.com/GFQ. Use our code at checkout. Get 15% off on shared hosting plans. I want to thank HostPapa for supporting the show, for, of course, supporting the GFQ network. These guys are great, actually. They're very good people. And I highly recommend them. Stevie Richards joined us today on What the Tech. It is really hot in this office. I don't know how hot it is in your place, but
no, that's why I'm wearing this tank top. It's not because I think I look good or anything.
91.6 degrees right now in the studio. I can't believe I have not passed out yet. 91.6 degrees, 92 degrees in here, which I'm going to have to turn the air conditioner on. Guys, if you're watching this live, we're going to do a post show now. We're going to do about 15 minutes. I'm going to talk to Stevie about a couple of things in the post show. If you're not watching live, go to patreon.com/whatthetech. You can watch it there. Stevie does a phenomenal show. It's a conspiracy-based show called It's a Work. We're going to explain what that means in a couple of minutes. Where can people find you?
Well, you can tweet me all your hate comments to BWO Stevie, but I do block people, so you only get one in.
You got one, and that's it.
Get one, and that's it. Actually, people on Twitter have been pretty good. Instagram at Stevie Richards, and I don't get nearly. I read Russo's tweets to people. He gets into big brawls and fights with.
I think he likes it though. I think he likes it.
Yeah, and and he that's what he does. It converts to money. I'm not quite the same way. Also, you can go to StevieRichardsOnline.com. Got a brand new YouTube opening at youtube.com/Stevie Richards Online, and I just put up my initial review on this. Since I train a lot of people, it's called a Sculpt Chisel. It supposedly gives body fat percentage and also muscle quality. But if you've ever done the body fat caliber test, it's tedious, and oftentimes if you don't know what you're doing, it can be pretty inaccurate. So I'm be testing this out for about a week or so. and trying to find if it fits into my training program.
Interesting. So how does it work?
Oh, well, you got 12 sensors on the back.
Okay.
And in the app, you just pick where you want to put it. And there's a light bar around here that changes colors according to, red when it's measuring and then blue when you're done measuring. And then it shows it on the app. So you're tethered to your app and then you just use it. And it's got a rechargeable battery. And it's pretty cool. You got to wet the sensors too. So there's a spray bottle that comes with it.
Yeah.
Water, use it, and I used it this morning for the first time, and it was pretty good.
I've done the actual, like the doctor's office, like body fat calculator where you hold the rods and then you stand on the thing, and that thing does like everything. It does your skeletal water retention. It does. I mean, that's really a like a real way to test it. But my scale has the body fat percentage thing, and it's always off. It's never right.
Yeah, there's certain ones. This uses electrical. It's EIM. So I forget what the acronym stands for, the abbreviation. But bioimpedance, the one where you hold the handle on the scale, those are pretty inaccurate. That gave me last time I checked that, I have 32% body fat.
Yeah, that's not right.
I don't think I look all that great, but I don't think I look that bad.
Yeah, that's the 32% is not right. Yeah, so that's actually a cool device. I'm looking forward to seeing our review.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Guys, subscribe to the podcast, gfknetwork.com. Go there, let's watch it. You could also go to Therot.com, watch it. We're on YouTube, so subscribe there also. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian, BWO Stevie, our guest, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.